Cute, kitschy Christmas characters is on the holiday to-do list today. Welcome to Up All Night DIY. I'm Monica. Thanks for joining me. My sweet friend Dawn of Shabby Meets Bling and I are joined by our incredibly talented friends on our journey down to Christmas Town for even more holiday creations. You'll find links to Dawn's channel as well as the playlist in the description box. Right, let's get into it. First up today is Flurry and Billow in their dime store chic festive fashions. To get us started, we'll need a couple of foam eggs. I don't have an exact size for these, they're just the standard foam egg. We're going to tap them on the table to create flat spots, top and bottom, to make them easy to stack and stand. Also, we'll need two 2.4 foam balls. We'll give them flat spots too. I'm using Model Magic, but you can use whatever clay you like. And we're going to need some toothpicks as well. I'll be making these ladies simultaneously, but I'll only be showing you one because they're basically the exact same thing. Go ahead and grab yourself a big old handful of clay. You're going to need it to condition it. I'm convinced that this helps the clay keep from cracking, so spend a little time really working that clay. We're going to roll out our clay big enough to cover at least one of our eggs. If we can get both done, great. I'm rolling this thin, but not super thin. I want a little bit of body to it. I'm going to roll one of my eggs in the clay. I'll cut away any excess clay just to make it easier to handle. And I'm really pressing that clay to make sure that it's well stuck to the foam. I'll fill in any gaps with spare clay, and I roll the piece on the table to smooth it as I go. I'm not going to worry if there's some lumps because, it's a snow person, so lumps are allowable. So the bottom of the egg, the wider end, that's going to be the bottom of our snowman. Makes sense, right? We're going to go ahead and grab some more clay and roll it out, enough to cover our foam balls. We're going to do this the exact same way that we just covered the eggs. We'll roll out a log of clay. We're going to use this to fill the gap between his head and body once we connect them, which we're going to do right now by pushing a toothpick into the center of our egg and then pushing the foam ball on top. Okay, let's wrap that log of clay into the gap, pushing it in with our fingers. I'm going to use my ball tool here to roll over the seam of the clay that I just added where it connects to the head and body to smooth it out. This is really just to keep the head and body connected because we're going to cover that up later anyway. We're going to roll another log of clay, a little bit thicker this time. This is going to be our snow girl's arms. I'll hold it up to my snow girl to see where I need to make my cut, and then I'll cut them to size. I'm going to push them into place on the side of her body and wrap the arms around her belly. I'm going to also leave a gap between her hands because both snow girls are going to be holding festive items. I'll incorporate the clay just like I did before by rolling my ball tool over the seams. And you guys know that you can use a paintbrush handle to do this. You don't really need a ball tool. Paintbrush handle works just as well. Now we're going to roll a small ball to create her cheeks. We're going to cut the ball in half. When I do this, it kind of smushes the ball to create an oval shape so that I have two oval shapes, which is like the perfect shape for the cheeks. So I really don't have to do much once they're cut. All I have to do is place them where I want them. And I'm going to incorporate them using the handle of this tool, just rolling over the seams like we did with the arms. I create a dimple by pushing my ball tool up from underneath the cheek into it, leaving a little divot. You can use a brush handle for this too. That works just as well. See? I broke off the tip of a toothpick and I'm pushing it in between her cheeks to anchor her nose. I rolled another wee clay ball for her nose and I slide it right over top of that little piece of toothpick, and I'm going to incorporate it with my tool handle just like we did with her cheeks. And now we're going to let our girls dry overnight. Okay, so they've sat overnight and they're well dry. And I do want to mention that if you use Model Magic, just as a heads up, when it's completely dry, it's still kind of spongy and soft. Not enough to make it easy to dent, but it does make it very easy to poke holes in it. Other clays that I've used anyway, are very hard when they dry. This is not. So I'm going to give these ladies 2 coats of Ceramcoat white paint. I'm not going to bother to show you the whole thing because you really can't tell. I'm painting white on white here. But you get the general idea. I'm going to sketch on her features with this blue pencil. I use the blue pencil because it's much more subtle yet visible than a regular pencil. You feel me? Let's go ahead and dry brush her nose and her cheeks with some Ceramcoat watermelon. So I know most of you probably know this, but dry brushing is just loading your brush with the paint and then offloading most of it onto a paper towel until there's just a wee bit of paint left on your brush. And then we're just going to scrub in the areas that we want to fill in with color. It gives the paint a soft diffused look. I like to build the color, so I start out light and then I just add more color as I see fit. I also like to use a stiff bristled brush when I dry brush. I'm going to use the dowel end of a sponge dauber to dot on her eyes, and I'm using Ceramcoat Hippo for this. It's a very deep gray, but it's softer than both charcoal and black, which I think is more appropriate for our snow girl. And of course, everything I'm doing to this one, I'm doing to the other as well. I'm using my 000 detail brush to outline her eyes. I'll also give her lashes and eyebrows. I'll give her a nice arch to her eyebrows. Very well manicured. And I'll paint in her mouth with the Hippo Grey as well. Let's add a triangular highlight in her eye up here at the top. To add a wee frosty touch, I'm going to dry brush this sweet girl with Tropic Bay Blue. Not really a frosty name, but definitely a frosty color. I'll dry brush around her neck and around her features, and really just anywhere that I think needs it to pull that color in. I'll add a blue highlight under her eyebrows and a little under her mouth, and I think I do some around her lashes too. This is going to give her eyes a little lift. You know what I'm saying? I finish off the bottom of her eye with some Hippo Grey. Just a wee line at the bottom, kind of like eyeliner. Yeah, like that. Makes a difference. Now our girls are ready for a top coat of DecoArt multi-purpose sealer, which I'm going to apply by pouncing it on with a cosmetic sponge. I like this as a sealer. It gives it a nice finish and it dries really quickly. Let's dot on some of the sealer onto the center of her cheeks and nose and sprinkle some chunky red glitter on there because it's Christmas and we need glitter. That's how we roll. Look how sweet and festive that is. Just gonna brush off some of those rogue bits of red glitter. I figured they're probably going to need a base because they're going to be kind of top heavy. So what I did is paint a couple of wood discs white and we're going to add some of this snow text right around the edge of it. I'm going to use my palette knife to apply it, but you could do it with your fingers or a paintbrush. That works as well. This is like a paste and it's like a sandy paste. This is the snowy stuff that you see on the vintage ceramic pieces. It cleans up with water and soap, no problem. Now this particular one has glitter in it already, but we're going to add more glitter because we really want this to sparkle. So first I'm going to shake on some of this Ultrafine Aqua glitter because I absolutely love this color. And then I'm going to come back in with some of that Dollar Tree snow glitter. Add that. I'm going to tap it down with my finger. Make sure, it's stuck in that snow. Now, let's embellish our girls with their dime store attire. So I'm using some fabric glue around her neck, and I'm going to add some of this chintzy dollar store Silver Garland as a collar. You know how we have Christmas sweater parties and competitions Well, these two lovely ladies are in a Christmas dime store chic competition. And props to the people that have the Pinterest and Etsy shop called Dime Store Chic. Excellent term. Absolutely love it. Thank you. So if you're wondering why she has a hole in the top of her head, it's because that's so we can easily attach her headpiece, which we're going to do next. So I'm going to glue a toothpick into the hole. This is so we can build the pick that's going to be her chapeau. It's going to go right over top of the toothpick. But first I'm going to add some more of that Dollar Tree garland, which I've coiled up on itself to make a little circle base, kind of. I think you'll be able to see that in a second here. And then I'm going to glue that to the top of her head. See, just a little circle. We'll pop that on there. Now we're going to add the elements that I pulled off another pick. This is one of those picks I got at that place, Kindy's, I was telling you guys about. That place that has all the Christmas stuff here in the city, the huge warehouse. Right, so I just picked off different elements, this bow. I got these silvery, pine branches, and some little Christmas balls. We'll get those attached. Yeah, that is snazzy. And I'm going to glue on this glittery poinsettia for her to hold. We'll mount her on her stand, and this girl is done. You are looking stylish, Billow. She almost looks like a bride. You'll see her again in the final reveal. Not to be outdone, Flurry has quite a stylish headpiece herself. To make that, I've glued 3 C7 Christmas lights together and added some sugar glitter. I'm going to wrap some silver tinsel rope around the base to hold it all together and to tidy it up a wee bit. I've also coiled up some of that tinsel as the base of her hat, and we're just going to glue her hat right into place. I took some pieces of tinsel between the bulbs just to jazz it up a wee bit more. She'll be holding a wee wreath embellished with matching lights, and Flurry is ready for the competition. Flurry is working that hat. Look at that brilliant hat. So which one is the winner? Flurry with the light hat or Billow with the Christmas ball hat? Let me know what you think. This guy is based on a vintage ornament that my mom used to have. To make him, we're going to need half of a 2.4-inch foam ball and a 2-inch foam ball. Of course, we're going to need some Model Magic and either a skewer or a lollipop stick. I'm using a lollipop stick. I also used a 4-inch wood round. And just like before, we grab a handful of clay, condition it, and then roll it nice and flat. And we're going to cover the ball the same way we did in the last project. We're rolling more clay, this time to cover the half ball, so we'll get this nice and flat. To make it easier to handle, we're going to use a jar lid to cut 2 circles from the clay. I'm going to roll over one of these circles to make it a little bit bigger, stretch it out somewhat, so that it fully covers the curved part of our half ball. We're just going to lay that right on top of the half ball, and I'll smooth it out with my fingers and roll it about on the table to make sure that it has good contact with the foam and is nice and smooth. The other circle goes on the flat bottom of the ball, and we're going to work it so that it meshes with the clay on top. I work it with my fingers, and then I'm going to roll over it where the seams meet with my ball tool. Try to make it as seamless as possible. I roll out a larger clay ball, which I'm going to cut in half to make his feet. Once I cut the ball in half, I'm going to roll both halves into a ball again. I do this so that I have 2 balls that are roughly the same size. Yeah, they're a good size. I rolled another log of clay for his arms, just like we did for Flurry and Billow, and cut those in half. Let's push those into place. They're going to kind of wrap around his belly a wee bit. And we're just going to work the seams, same way as we did before with the ball tool. We'll cut a circle from some flattened clay to make the brim of his hat. We'll place that on the very center of his head. And we're going to roll a thick marshmallow-shaped log of clay for the crown of his hat. So basically, we just want to keep in mind that it should be marshmallow-esque and slightly tapered at the one end. I push a toothpick into the center of his head. This is going to anchor his hat, and I'm going to slide the crown down over top of the toothpick. And we're incorporating, same as before, and then we're going to set all of the pieces aside overnight to dry. Right, so everything is nice and dry, and I've already painted his head and his hands with white paint. His hat and his shoes are going to get 2 coats of Ceramcoat Hippo. His body will get 2 coats of Tropic Bay Blue, except for his hands, which I've already painted white. We'll add some details to his jacket with some watermelon red stripes at his cuffs. I want a glitter stripe in the center of his jacket, so I'm using the same color of his jacket, the Tropic Bay, to paint a stripe in the center, and I'm shaking on some ultrafine turquoise glitter. Now let's come back and add some red checks around the hem of his jacket. I dot on his cheeks with the Tropic Bay Blue. Just like before, I drew on the features with the blue pencil, and now I'm painting in his eyes with Hippo Grey. And I'm going to dot the irises with my paintbrush handle. Done and done. Let's dash on some eyebrows. This is Hippo Grey as well. A wee watermelon smile. We'll dot his cheeks with red glitter. And he gets a top coat of multi-purpose sealer, which I should have done before I added the glitter, but you know, you live and you learn. I will make this mistake again, by the way. You know I will. Right, so now let's assemble him. I'm going to glue his feet with fabric glue and a wee drop of hot glue to his body. Pom-poms will serve as buttons, 3 for good luck. A red metallic pipe cleaner as his hatband, and I'm going to use fabric glue to attach this as well. Poke a hole with the lollipop stick in the bottom of his head and the top of his body. I also made a wee bow tie from scraps of ribbon, which I'm going to glue to the stick. I'm sure you guys know that I love this color combo since I use it all year long. Whenever I find ribbon in these colors, I buy it all. You hear me? All of it. More pom-poms for his earmuffs, you know, because snowmen need earmuffs. And another one for his nose. Boop. Time to assemble. Let's attach him to his stand. As you can see, I made this stand just like the other ones. This one's just slightly bigger. I'll add a wee bit of glue to the hole and push the stick into it. Pop his head on. And Snowy is finished. I did also add a wee sprig of holly to his hat, you know, because it's Christmas. Let me know what you think. And my final project is Liddy the Christmas candle. We're going to be using a foam packing cylinder cut to about 6 inches, but a paper towel roll will do too. And a jar lid will work as her candle holder. And look what I found at Kindy's, you guys. Remember these flame light bulbs? Could not resist. Had to buy a pack. How retro is this? In fact, this bulb inspired this project. More model magic, of course. We're going to roll the clay out to cover the cylinder. It's pretty much the same deal as covering the balls and the eggs. We're just going to roll it up and smooth it out as much as we can. And just like before, we'll cut away any excess. Before I cover the top, I cut a cross slit in the foam. This is going to make it easier to push the bulb in later. I cut a small circle of clay to cover the top, and I'm just going to work it into the clay on the body of the candle. Now I'm going to cut away the clay where I made the hole in the foam, and I'm just going to scoop it out. And I'll use my ball tool to kind of neaten it up a wee bit. To create the candle drips, aka her hair, I'm just going to roll out some little canes of clay, making points on the ends, cutting them off, you know, I don't know, a couple inches long. And I'm going to press them on the top of the candle, kind of coming out from the center hole and dripping down along where her face would be. And I'm going to do this completely around the top of the candle. Just making sure that my flame bulb fits, and it does. There we go, you can see the hair all around. We'll remove the bulb, and let's work on her features. We're going to create her features the exact same way as we did the others. We're going to roll a small ball, cut it in half, apply those as her cheeks, and then another small ball, even smaller ball, in between the cheeks as her nose. Can't forget her dimples. Let's pop her nose on. Boop. And now we're going to leave her to dry overnight. Okay, so she's all dry and she's got 2 coats of white paint. I've already sketched on her eyes and her mouth. And now we're going to dry brush her with some Tropic Bay Blue. So the same rule applies here. I really want to focus on getting the paint into the crevices and around her features and anywhere else I think it might look good. Her cheeks and nose will get the same dry brush treatment as the other projects did. I'll start off light and build the color layer by layer until I'm happy with it. Once again, I'm using my 000 detail liner and Hippo Grey to make her eyes. Her eyes are going to be closed. This face might look familiar to you. It's the same as Blam, my firecracker. I'll put a picture of him up here for you. But I just love this face. It's so happy and joyful. Of course, she's going to get some Lala lashes and some eyebrows. And then we'll paint in her mouth. And we're going to highlight her features with Tropic Bay. She gets a top coat of multi-purpose sealer. And I decided she needs a little glamour dust, so I'm adding a little bit more of that top coat and sprinkling on as much glamour dust as I like. I painted the lid first with a coat of white chalk paint so that my watermelon paint would stick to the metal. Then I added a top coat of the multi-purpose sealer. And this is going to be her candle holder. I'm going to use some of that fabric glue and a wee dot of hot glue to attach Liddy to her candle holder. To finish her off, we'll pop that retro bulb into place. I'm not even going to glue it, just going to sit it in there. And I'm going to fill the base of her candle holder with some holly sprigs, and I'll add her bow, and Liddy is done. And there's our happy little candle. She is so cute. Let's take another look at today's project. Here are our dime store chic fashion plates, Flurry and Billow. Billow has the lovely bow and Christmas ball headpiece, and Flurry has the lights. Let me know which one you like best. And here we have Snowy with his pom-pom nose. So cute. And last but far from least is Liddy, our happy little Christmas candle. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Let me know if you have a favorite, which one it is. Drop it in the comments. I'd appreciate it. I want to thank my buddy and my co-host, Dawn. Please be sure to check out Dawn's channel. Dawn is fabulous, as you well know. She's one of my all-time favorites. Just love her. You'll find a link to her channel in the description box, along with a link to the playlist. I'm also going to link the playlist in the comments. Click on that link and it'll roll you right through every single video in this collaboration. You won't want to miss a single one. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Stay creative, my friends. Thanks for hanging with me. See you next time. Up all night with Monica.